So, Angela Fumpson, welcome to the coaching channel. Thank you very much for joining us. Would you like to introduce yourself?
I would. Hi. So I'm Angela. My company is White Tiger, born from a passion for saving tigers and wildcats. I'm a professional business mentor and a coach. My background is engineering and quality assurance, which I still get involved in. And I'm also an energy healer and angelic Reiki practitioner. And I bring all of it together to provide intuitive mentoring. So thought partner for life and business, if you like.
That phrase, I've always associated that phrase with you, the thought partner.
Yeah,
I
that's
really
exactly.
liked it.
Yeah.
And to me, it speaks of, right, I'm here with you. Let's talk. Let's see let's get those thoughts out. I mean, what's that process like to access your clients' thoughts?
For me, it's a nudge. I once had a client that chatted to me and said, "Well, I love it because you just sit and listen, and then you'll question something very subtly, and that will give me a nudge." And he used to say that'll bring my palm to my head and go, "Oh, why didn't I think of it sooner?" But he used to describe it as a spark that then led him on with enthusiasm to then build the flame up and move in the
Oh.
direction he needs to do. So it is just that gentle nudge, that listening and questioning.
So there's this gentle nudge. You're getting access to a spark which can be fanned into a flame. So this is something that already resides within somebody.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. That internal zone can be very difficult to access by ourselves.
Yeah, yeah.
And gosh, there's lots of things you say. Um, so you mentor, a coach, you worked in quality assurance, an energy healer, thought partner. There's some sort of some quite, let's say, in terms of in terms of working in engineering,
Mm-hmm.
that sounds like quite a contrast as a place, as an area, a profession, compared to something that's a bit more ethereal in terms of it being an energy healer.
Yes,
How
very
do you
logical.
bring those together?
So to start off with, it is about finding that spark. It is about uncovering what people want.
Mm.
People say to me, I love it because you don't tell me what to do. You're asking me what I truly want and how do I want to get there. So we're following, I'm telling people to follow the joy. If it doesn't bring you joy, don't go there. So we're following our heart's desire, and then we still need the logical, structural, grounding way to get there. So that's the way they come together. So where people change careers and they think, oh, all my past, it's not relevant now. But it truly is. Everything we've learned on the way is relevant today. So I work with a lot of holistic people who were accountants or engineers, and now they're healers, and they moved on to another world, or they're awakened, and what they do is they leave all those corporate skills behind because they don't want to go there. It's painful past.
Right.
So all the planning, all the lovely stuff that they did when they were in the corporate world, it stays out of the way. So now they quite often need a bit of grounding, a bit of planning, a bit of structure, and the things that need to come back in, but they have a relation to the corporate life that they left behind that they don't want to go to. So that's just my experience.
What's the resistance to going back there?
I'm not sure. This is more recent sort of knowledge of mine that I can see a lot of people just I don't know whether they think it's not relevant now or it belongs in the corporate arena. uh, you have a lovely way of life, as you're a healer, you're enjoying your time, your freedom. Don't want to think about the sales and all that aspect and the structure and the business stuff. So I'm not sure what it is. It's just something that I've noticed quite freely, where I'm teaching planning and someone will go, oh, I did this when I was a sales director, or when you're going, yeah, it's still important now.
So then, if someone's not realizing that those skills are transferable,
Yep.
um, it's like part of them can't come to this area of a conversation. If you're outside of that typical work setting or that career setting,
Yeah.
they're not aware that they can
Yeah.
just transfer what they learned into a different
They kind of
use. Or,
switched off. Yeah. But
hmm.
the part of mentoring is going back to that the subconscious, the creative side, the all the stuff we have inside that we may have not quite shut off. Like they say, every child's an artist until they're told they're not, and then they're not.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah. So we
yeah.
need to go back in and connect with what we really love doing. And there will be stuff that we've got so much knowledge that unless we tap into our higher self, we don't realize it. And we just need a little bit of a nudge, and they will find the solutions themselves, and they'll see it again, and they'll realize it again.
So this come back to that phrase again, the nudge, like the needle on a record. You know, if we take a record to be the whole person,
Mm-hmm.
and if the business career, let's say, with the first four tracks, and they're now in the fifth, sixth, seventh track, they don't know that they can dance around and get different bits from different tracks. They think, oh no, I'm here now. I've done that. I can't go back there. The
Yeah,
record is playing towards the outside. But
absolutely.
the records, no, records play from the outside in, don't they?
Outside in. Yeah.
Yeah. The outside of those rings of tracks are maybe the former life, the former career,
Yeah.
the thing that they're leaving behind, and now they think, and now I'm here to do these tracks.
Yeah.
Well, what can you hear in that song of the
Yeah.
previous four tracks? So
I
for
did the
you,
same thing. I did this. I did exactly the same thing.
that's what's coming on
Engineering.
to.
I kept parking it. So I mean, most of
Mm.
my stuff, my mentoring is storytelling, experience, intuition, channeling. It's stories that resonate, and then people go, I know what this means. So I don't know what it means, but they know what it means. But I did the same. I was on such a journey because I loved healing. I love mentoring. The process work that I do, because I streamline business processes,
Mm.
I left behind for a while thinking, oh, I can't do both. I can't fit them together. I need to focus on where I'm going. But do you know what? It's come back round, and people need that more than ever. And it doesn't mean I'm not a spiritual healer. It doesn't mean I'm not anything else. It means I'm all of that. And I just pick what toolbox I need to dip into. But for a while I separated. It was like running three businesses, and that's all too much. So one needs to move and go out the way and not focused on. And eventually you bring all of it together, and it comes together when you find your purpose.
Okay, so now I've got for you. So I could clearly see you've been on a journey of connection for yourself,
Absolutely.
and that's an album.
Yeah.
And the other approach is in isolation of the singles.
Yes.
But like a band, how do you know what a band is like until
How
you
do
play an
you,
album?
well, that's your purpose. Do you mean your purpose? How do you know? I mean, for me, it was connection. It's taken me a long time to work out exactly what I need to do and what I do, and
Mm.
that's a bit of tapping in to the spiritual, your higher self, if you like. That's
Mm.
about being quiet and listening. And so I can tell you my purpose with absolute clear certainty, because it's come to me, and you feel emotion. It's, how do I explain it? When you say it, there's a connection, a really,
Mm.
really resonance that you can feel. So I'm here to enable light workers. I know that without a shadow of a doubt.
You're here to enable light workers.
Yes. And that doesn't mean
Okay.
like spiritual people. That means people that are here to serve a cause bigger than themselves, that are changing the planet, changing the world. They're here for a reason. And we're all here for a reason. We all chose to be here, but there's something resonating there with me. So, that's where I bring my skills.
And to expand a bit more on the light
Mm.
workers, so a cause greater than themselves, to change the planet for the better. Is this what you're talking about in terms of the word light?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So I've got an impression of they're emitting a light. They are shining their focus on something or a cause, something that's bigger than them.
Yes.
Okay.
If you could imagine this as like a lampshade, if you like. And once we connect internally, it's like taking the shade off. It's like, yeah, we're there then.
Ooh. Oh,
That's
okay. So
what
a
I'm here
lampshade
to
is
do is,
containing you.
yeah,
Right.
I'm here to, I've been on that journey, and I'm still on that journey, but we need to, the only way we can do that is when we go inwards and we're authentically us and we're confident to come out and say what we mean and what we do and our values and everything else. And we've, we need a safe, for me, it was a safe environment, I'll be honest. If I believe the world is safe and free from judgment and people are kind, then yes, I can go on video like this. Until then, my purpose, everything else was in here, or maybe came out in words or a blog, but it didn't come out person to person to the world out on social media until I had the environment that made me feel safe.
Tell me more about the environment then that makes you feel safe.
I think it's the way we might hold, how do I explain it? We have beliefs and values that are sometimes really strong, that come from maybe a childhood decision, something in our life, we form these beliefs, and they're very difficult to change, and they can hold us back. And then we need to find a way of turning that around. So I'm a Virgo, I'm a perfectionist. So I had to find a way of turning that around. So I may not be perfect, but I know my integrity. I know everything I do is with the best intention for everybody. So I know I can believe in that, and that changes my belief about it doesn't need to be perfect. So we have to change the way we think about beliefs, and we have to really turn them around. And one of the things for me is, what if I get judged? What if I look silly? What if I fail? But if people are kind and they're not here to judge and the world's a safe place, then it doesn't matter, does it?
Beliefs are so strong, especially when they are not consciously held.
Oh, yeah, you wouldn't know. That's the experiential healing. That's the beauty of mentoring and conversations. Oh my goodness, words can heal, words can change energy, messages can change energy. It's not just energy work. And just the simplest little thing of going there and going, okay, that's when I made that decision. That's the belief that was keeping me safe. Now it's not serving me. Now what do I want to believe instead? And how would I, what would I be doing now if that new belief was true? And then you can reenact that, and you can so move into it.
Oh yes, the reenactment, making something else your belief, and how is that belief serving me right now? I think from my own experience, people get accustomed to having a belief. It becomes sort of part of their identity, whether they know it or not. They can let that define them. So your clients then, you're helping as a thought partner, as a coach and a mentor, an energy healer. You're helping those beliefs be visible, not have them painted across the wall. That's how I'm imagining it, and sort of standing back and.
I suppose I hold them. So I provide the safe space, and I believe in them unconditionally until they're ready to step into that themselves. So I'm holding space, quite literally.
That term, that means a lot to me. It's a term that I've used. I think quite a few coaches that I know and mentors that I know will use that term.
Okay.
Could you maybe help our audience understand that term a bit more?
Holding space. It is like a container, isn't it? Where somebody feels. So I liken it to when I meet someone for the first time and they go, "Oh my gosh, I don't know why I just told you that. I have no idea." And that's just, and I'm going, that's because you feel safe, you feel held, and you can express yourself in whatever way that, whatever needs to come in that moment will come. And that's what that holding space is. Someone feels held, they feel not judged, and you're just listening. You're just here to let whatever needs to unfold. But you're also there to support their new path, and they believe it's possible then. But it is, when you're holding space, you are truly holding someone, because they could be going through something quite emotional at the time. And it's not about trying to stop that. It's about letting it unfold. Because in Britain, if we're British, it's like, here, have a tissue. Don't.
Oh yeah.
All right. And we're actually with energy clearing and stuff, you just up and out is better. I find people yawning a lot in my session. They're going, "I'm so sorry," and I'm going, "You're just releasing energy, and that is absolutely perfect. So yawn away."
Oh, Okay, so you're yawning the release of a limiting belief, or
Yeah. Or it could be
okay.
ego getting in the way, I don't want to listen
Hmm.
to that. We're just really playing with you now.
Okay, 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 right. Oh wow. So that safe space. I don't know what I think. I probably know that I like analogies and metaphors.
I do. I love a story. Go on.
So I don't. This thought jumped into my head. It's like you've got a special kind of executive lounge in an airport, and people could just be rushing through, but they come into your lounge, which is this protected, safe space, and rather than just carry on that transfer, they can do what you just described. I don't know why. Oh, I don't know why I said that. It's because you're not just constantly traveling. You you can still be moving through life, but you can be in a zone of transition that is safe and that allows different thoughts,
Yeah.
allows your beliefs to be projected and looked at and not made right or wrong, but allow someone to be interested with a new with a new perspective.
Yeah. It's just having an open mind. There's no
Okay, yeah.
judgment. It's just an open mind.
Hmm. What was it like to first bring this approach uh, back or the um, into your prior work? So can you tell us a
Right.
bit more about?
That was
Yeah.
a journey. That's the book. That started with the book. So
Hmm.
little old me who wanted to save tigers approached the David Shepherd Wildlife Foundation. He's got an arm called Tiger Time, which I was absolutely fascinated by. And I met a motivational speaker and started running events and got brave enough to ring this charity. And they're supported by Marks and Spencers and Ricky Gervais and Joanna. And I thought, wow, I'll just give them a ring. And they said, well, have you got a product? And I went, no. Do I need one? I said, no, you can donate to us. And I said, yeah, I'd love to. And then I thought, have I got a product? Well, I've got this book I want to write. And I spoke to my coach. And so I wrote it. It was just a labor of love. It took me a couple of years. I didn't want to let it go because, who'd want to read my thoughts and, what's going on? And it was about learning about your passion. Why do you do what you do? How did it come about? What is the processes that have unfolded that holds your business together, and what should they be, and how do you improve it, and how do you get the team on board, and all of that kind of thing. And I remember my coach writing the foreword, and it goes systems, 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 yawn, 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 and I was like, no. But he said, yeah, when he met me, he told a bit of a story about these lofty spiritual ideas and then practical down to earth solutions and how the two came together. So that's how it all started. And I was really nervous about bringing it into the corporate world. I'm the most nervous place was being among my peers, the quality engineers, all of that. But saying that, every time I volunteered to mentor someone, I sort of said, well, so what do you want out of life? And they pause and go, I don't know. Well, my partner would like me to have a bit less stress, I suppose, and a bit more time. Okay, great. Let's start with that. And we look at improvements and we look at, getting a bit more time back. But then I found myself just being more relaxed and being me when I'm mentoring, and the feedback from others. I didn't have the courage myself, so I relied on the feedback of others. And so I just opened up to who I was. And if we talked about spiritual stuff, and you just knew who you could. I know who I can say what to. I know who can accept a deep conversation about why we came into the world and who is not ready yet. So we that's how I mentor. We just started to talk about what we really love and what we want out of life. And then the mentoring went from there. And then I thought, right, okay, it's accepted. My style is okay in this world, in the corporate world, because we're all people. But it was daunting. And I think the first thing was just releasing that book. It was, okay, so this is what I believe. I'm going to put it down on paper. And if people say, well, yeah, it's all right, then I know that I'm testing the water. and it raised money for charity. So that was good.
I've had a few conversations recently about what comes first, passion or skills, passion or career, so on and so forth. And What do you think? What comes first?
What comes
Or
first?
does it matter?
I don't think it matters, because I don't think there's any wrong direction as long as we keep stepping forward. You know, one of my mentors, Mike Dooley, always says, just find the paths and choose the least suckiest one, and then just follow it. And there's no wrong answer. You've not done anything wrong. You just move forward. And then, you know, once you take a step in that direction, you'll see the next step. You'll start to, you know, trust the universe and go, right, okay, where am I going? But I think to me, it's joy. It always follows joy and passion, and that lights the flame, and that helps you decide what you want and what you're going to do. You learn skills along the way, because for me, I think we've all got whatever we need inside, and what we haven't got, we're very resourceful and we can find. But I think looking in first is, you know, if someone says to me, you know, I don't want to work with children and pets, well, don't. What do you want to do? You know, who do you want to work with? You have to trust, you know, what brings you joy first. Skills you'll learn on the way, or you'll work with somebody who's got complementary skills to you.
Do you think then that people don't often see, or maybe they're not conscious of their joy that might already be accessible?
Yeah, absolutely.
The passion that's already accessible in what they're doing.
Yeah. How many times have you heard someone say, oh, I'm really loving this path, but everyone says, is it time you got a real job, or is that a real job? So it's our environment around us that maybe stops, and they might think, well, perhaps this isn't a real job. Following my passion or my hobby, or here, perhaps I need to follow the norm and become, you know, an engineer or an accountant or a lawyer or a, you know. So it's belief at the end of the day. You have to believe that whatever choice that you follow will manifest into what you want. You know, you have to make it a sustainable business, but I quite often tell people, explore, do it for free, do it on anything, do it anywhere. And they go, I can't, you know, my coach says I can't give my services away. And I said, but when you're in the energy of doing the role, everything else will follow. Your conversations will be better, you know, everything will be better. But you've just got to live what you want to do.
I think there's a lot to be said there for the doing, and the sort of the passion side. I think I personally have experienced this where I'm trying to find my passion, and will have in the past been trying to find my passion, and then it kind of halts my actions. But when you said about just trying a path, and okay, not that one, try this one. I've got an image of lightning coming out of the sky, the kind of fault lightning. You know, not every path of the lightning in the sky leads to the ground, and if the ground represents attaching to purpose, it comes from making mistakes. It comes from trying different paths, and one of them, you know, with tenacity and with belief.
It's the persistence. Persistence gives you faith. It's persistence, and that's how, you know, that is. I mean, they go hand in hand, don't they? Faith, but you know, you need that sustained effort to create the faith, and then you need to grow in belief. But belief is just placeholder for knowing. What you need to do is be in that knowing energy that you are on the right path, and that's when you get to knowing, that's when the manifestation happens, because that's the energy. Knowing, gratitude, all of that, trust, faith. And that's a hard place to get to sometimes on your own if you haven't got the right environment around you.
Yeah, gosh. Okay, so now I've got an image of someone continually arriving at different airports, and they will one day start to arrive at airports where they just feel more and more like home, and they represent the passion and joy in life. But to get there, you've got to arrive at lots of other airports. And I'm a big fan of falling in love with any process if the process is going to lead you somewhere that you want to go. Yeah. How do you help somebody fall in love with the process of bringing together the energy healer side of things and also the logical side of your work?
That's down to presence. Being present, because you can't fall in love with the journey if you're saying I'll be happy when. You've got to get happy now. So that's, you know, that's coming back down to the grounding and the presence, and learning to do that, of learning to have space, learning to listen to yourself, and learning to have a bit of routine and a bit of discipline, and that's the effort that is needed when you start to listen to yourself, because you get excited then. It's like you just get that space and you get that time to listen to what you want and listen to yourself, and it is quite satisfying. You think, oh, okay, I'm putting myself first. I'm actually, my inner child is getting excited now. So yeah, I think getting present, you can't make someone fall in love with the process. You can't force anyone to do anything. What you can do is ignite the spark of what's possible, and stop them from having a wish list to believe in, yeah, actually that's a tick list that can be done. Yeah. Wishing thinking is has to be changed, because a wish list is something they believe that will never happen. So it becomes more of a, this is my tick list. This is what's going to light me up. It's not a wish list.
Right, wish listed, I will, or tick list. Okay. Yeah, because why not? I wish I had that. Okay. I had a conversation with a friend years ago. Sadly, he's no longer with us. And we were talking, I think we were listening to the radio and the lottery was being announced. And we had a conversation. Oh, what would you do if you won the lottery? And what would you do? We got quite deep into it and coming all manner of options. And we were both carpenters at the time. So we're talking about lots of tools that we buy and workshops and what have you. And then he said, his demeanor changed and he said, why don't you do it anyway? I thought, well, that's a good point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why am I handing over my ability to do something to wishing for something to happen?
Yeah. And we put it's all in here. It's all in the subconscious. We put our own barriers and blocks. And you might have heard something when you were younger. There's always, oh, I could never do that because they're well educated and they're bound to, how many times have you heard a parent go, oh, that's how the other half live, But as a child, you would take that on board, but you don't think of it. It's there in the back of your subconscious. You won't even know it's there, but you'll be living programs that you don't know exist until you look at that experience and whatever's happening and what you say, and then go, I wonder what I'm making that mean about me. I wonder what I'm making that mean about other people. I wonder what I'm making that mean about the universe. And when you answer those three questions, suddenly there's new light, a lot of new light.
Okay, now I'm jumping to the Truman Show, the film.
Yeah.
With Jim Carrey and what's his female lead called? Oh, crumbs. She was in leading the Ozarks. Laura Linney. So there is someone who believes that's his world. That is the world.
Yeah.
It's a little island they live on within a massive TV studio.
Yeah.
But there's some trigger that there's things that don't add up that he learns to question himself. And I think it starts with a light falling from, doesn't it? It nearly hits him.
Yeah.
So that's an outside. Okay, coming back to you, maybe helping someone take the lampshade off their own light.
Yeah.
I can see you being a light as well, or like the light dropping from the set of the Truman Show. You can kind of peer into someone else's world, someone else's set, and say, oh, what do you think of this? What's that like? And
you just reframe it just a little bit, just subtly. You can't question someone's beliefs, because the minute you do that, I mean, they're so deep. Then that's when the defense walls come up. You've got to do it subtly. You've got to do it, just with a playful curiosity. It's just subtle, very subtle.
Playful curiosity.
Because you're not, what you mustn't be is be in opposition to anything. The minute we stop fighting the fact and getting frustrated that I'm not this or I'm doing that, and accept that's the way it is at the moment, and how can we move on, is when we can move. But when we're in fighting energy, it's almost impossible. It's exhausting. So we don't have the motivation, the energy and the drive to change, because we're constantly fighting where we are. We don't want to be where we are. So we're fighting the fact that we're, frustrated about where we are. and it doesn't help. So we don't want to be in opposition to anything. We just need to go with the flow and accept whatever it is. Just be present with it. It's okay. Because if you've got any shadows, once you put the light on them, they go away. And we got to do that's another subject altogether, doing the shadow work.
I know we can go in many directions today.
I know.
So now I'm thinking of a fight between two people. I think you would embody the kind of energy that would be really welcome to
Yes.
dispel a fight.
Yeah. I'll let you in on a secret. I don't like conflict. And
Okay.
what my role has been up until now, probably to my detriment, is I am a peacemaker. I am the person that comes in and smooths over and gets involved probably where I don't need to be involved, because I'm an empath, and that's kind of energy I don't like.
Mm.
I've got something on my wall, actually. I will share this because this is quite
Sure.
personal, and I've had it it's very faded, had it a long time. It's all sat there, but I knew that my role and my job and my purpose involves peace. So there's a little card called the Angel of Peace, and it says we're at war, only at war with one another, when we're at war with ourselves. So to live in harmony with others, we must find inner peace first. So conflict is a big subject that comes up for me quite a lot. And about teaching people that it's not personal, it's what's going on for them. And we need to educate our youngsters in the same way. But peace is a massive thing. So fighting energy, yeah, it's very personal to me because I don't like conflict. But again, I love coming in and smoothing over, and probably you have to learn when is it your place or your right to get involved and give your opinion or show people a different way. People have to be ready to receive that information. So you have to be really careful, and it's a choice.
Okay. So then I'm going to say your ability to smooth things over, because you don't like conflict, fine. But also this is flavoring your approach in terms of your subtleness, the playfulness,
Yeah.
the putting an essence of you into the water and
Yeah.
just saying, hey, so rather than just the kind of smoothing over of let's just calm it right down, it's let's calmly look at that and okay. So the angel of peace, the empath, love that. So you're communicating with someone's inner peace rather maybe than trying to deal with what they're at war with.
It is, yeah. So inside that's perfect, and at work it's the same. I had a coin given to me with an angel on by my aunt, and I had it in my purse or my pocket for a long time before I realised there's a word on the back of there, and it rings true, and it's harmony. And so my job in the beginning through mentoring and process was bringing harmony in the workplace. It was always about bringing human back into business, bringing harmony. So you can have the best process defined in the world, but you also need to be in harmony with people and process. So it's mentoring the people so that they love what they do and they do what they love and that they're in the right place. And then the systems support that, obviously, because one thing that I found, a lot when I went into businesses was the blame culture. Why hasn't that happened? Whose fault is it? Well, actually, maybe it's nobody's fault. Maybe we just didn't design. Maybe there's a gap in the system. Let's focus on systems first before we blame anyone. So the reason for the systems was I always focused on the systems architecture. Let's design that as well as we can and take the blame out of the people. But they both need to work in harmony. So harmony was a massive word for me in the early days. And then suddenly I turned this coin over in my pocket and it had harmony on the back, which was just a lovely moment. Lots of synchronicities in my story.
I love it. I love it. So I've got the first offering of my take on your purpose,
Okay.
and it's an offering. It can be accepted, rejected, or modified. And I think you've clearly got your purpose. I mean, you said already about here to enable light workers.
Yeah.
So for anyone watching who's not sure about purpose is, I believe, and Angela, please do add in anything to this. I believe purpose is you at your best having the impact you want to have. That's a very quick summation of what I believe purpose is.
Yeah.
And rather than plucking something off a shelf and say, that's my purpose, it's really good to discover it through experiences and reflection. And so I'm going to give, from talking with you today, Angela, so far, I'm going to say you're the subtle nudge um, who allows someone to find the heart of their harmonious logic. That's my first offering.
Okay.
The heart of their harmonious logic.
I would add on a soul level, because when you said about purpose, for me, it's, yeah, people like Michael Beckwith are great when they say this, because they say, you're never born, you never die. You're a soul on a journey on this planet, having a human experience. And our job is not to come and discover. So we're not here to find and explore the world. We're here to discover internally. And we go on a journey of internal discovery of what the gifts are. And we remember what our soul's purpose is. And then we learn to share it with the world before we pass on to our next life. So for me, it's helping people go inwards and doing the inward discovery about what brings them joy and what their soul's purpose truly is.
Ooh. Ooh. Okay, so the soul's on a journey. It's moving through whatever it's moving through, and we get to embody that for our time.
Yeah, but our soul isn't our environment. Sometimes we have to learn to park the environment. We don't have to, detach from it, but we sometimes have to park that and get in touch.
So could someone then embody the environment of their soul? Yeah. Independent of,
independent of what's going on. So they're embodying that rather than the impact of. It's a bit like learning to speak your truth, even though there's lots of other things going on in the world.
Okay. I love that. It's like getting on a train almost. For me, this is how I always come back to trains.
Okay.
At some point in the conversation, but it's like getting on a train, getting on that soul that's in transition, that's moving, and you're on that journey, and then you disembark at some point. The soul carries on, but you embody that soul, and as it moves through different environments. So this is very personal for me. I'm trying to add layers to my understanding of you.
Yeah.
But I'd never thought of a soul like that before. That's interesting.
Okay. Yeah. I read something where they say it's a bit like, when you get in your car and you drive your car, you're not your car. You're you in your car. And the soul is the same in the body. We're not
Excuse me.
Our soul is in our body. We don't become our body. Our body is just transitioning from one stage to the other, but the soul lives. That's very deep and might be a bit religious, but it is, the way that you say, it's like saying when we jump in our car, we become our car, but we're not.
Within our car. I think it's whatever works. It's so I use a reflection process. I say my mind is, my body is, and then I offer them some options to the third. I say you can say my soul is, my heart is, I don't really mind what people use. It's just what connects to you.
And the heart energy is so important. That's I mean, it's heart generating energy and community. That's who was it the other day said it? Lee Harris. That's the gold of our future, and he's right. It's bringing heart back into it, and that's what I did MBIT coaching, because you're connecting, you're letting your head have a voice, and then you're connecting in with your heart, and then you're connecting in with your gut, because everybody has a gut. Something told me. Doesn't matter what you like to think about it is, but you have to trust your instinct, and that tends to live down there. But when you follow your joy, then you're connecting into your heart as to what you desire. And then the logic thinking brain decides, let's take a bit of action. But without your gut, you won't move, because that's just,
I think so. That as a system makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Like gut, heart, mind.
And they're all brains. If you research embraining, it's fascinating.
So just
And
go
if
through that
you,
again for me. Sorry, didn't mean
so
to
yeah, so
interrupt.
is it, if you've got to get all involved. So
Mm,
yeah, it's a fascinating subject to learn into, but it's about taking decisions on a journey around the body. So it's about letting your head have its chatter, and
yeah.
then just spending time coming into yourself and your heart and what you want.
Mhm.
And again, down into the gut, which we sometimes gets a bit forgotten, but it's about breathing into each energy center and finding out they've all got wisdom. They've all got, it's like tapping into higher wisdom, higher self, higher knowledge. But you're allowing your whole body to make that decision, if you see what I mean. And that's
As you
what
talk,
meditation and silence does. It allows you to tap in.
so many external things that can grab our attention.
Yeah.
But I often say, what about this? What is this telling you? The bag of skin and bones and muscle, what have you. What's in here? As you were talking, I had my hand on my gut. I quite often think whilst tapping I use a lot of tapping whilst tapping my chest.
Mm-hmm.
We sometimes, we rub our head, don't we, when we think. So it's not just like a response. What is this? What is that? And
That's connecting in, isn't it?
yeah, yeah.
Sometimes even just doing that can bring you into your center.
Mm,
Absolutely.
I like to, rub my sternum, or my partner sometimes rubs my sternum, and we're thinking about things and
Yeah,
talking, and
you
it
can connect.
has an amazing effect.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
Mm,
I love that. So yeah, that's the way to go. I mean, I was in a silent retreat on Saturday, and it is something about switching everything off.
mm.
Amazing.
Where do you think so with regards to
Excuse me.
the quality assurance, that side of your work, the
Mm-hmm.
previous work, with regards to those three brains,
Yeah.
where often do you find people are occupying the most?
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Some people can be quite numb coming back into their body and feeling, and you can almost tell. There's a lot of music and movement are so powerful to bringing you back in your body. Someone might have had a trauma, and that's why they are totally, some people can be totally numb because they
Mm.
don't want to feel anymore. So yeah, music and movement can be powerful stuff. And energetically wise, I was on retreat recently and had dynamic meditation, which is shaking and dancing. My
Yeah.
goodness, your body is buzzing.
Mm.
It's a whole new energy. It's like
I,
coming awake.
I recently was told about shaking by my partner, and does it as part of a yoga routine sometimes. One of her yoga teachers teaches that, and we did some.
Mm.
I did it for quite some time. It was very interesting to. I just felt like I was shedding a bit of a skin, getting rid of something, and I started reading around shaking, and I noticed that a part of my research produced a video of a dog, and the dog was running. It was really stressed. It was running backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. And then the demeanor of the dog changed, but the activity didn't. So it carried on running backwards and forwards, but it became joyful. And then
Okay.
it calmed down and just led its back and got ready for its tummy to be tickled. And the videographer was explaining that when dogs are stressed, they can try and expend that energy. So that's running around frantically. Then when they go through that process, they're processing how they're feeling. Then it becomes a joyful activity, which is when you can see the smile on their face, so to speak.
Yeah.
And then when they've done that, they've expended a lot of energy. They've got rid of certain types of energy. They're tired, and then they feel safer, expose their underbelly. I thought, wow, what can we learn from that?
Yeah.
And also think about the times, everyone, when we've had a lot of stress, whether it's an immediate isolated event or cumulative. What have we actually done about it? And I mean, in terms of
Yeah.
within ourselves.
Yeah. And that trauma. I mean, the body keeps the score.
Oh,
That
amazing book.
you hold That's what just done network spine analysis. If you're not aware of it, it literally allows the trauma to come out of the body and release. It's just incredible. But we hold on to so much that we need to release in some way.
Mm. Sorry, what was that title? Network something analysis?
Oh, network spine analysis, which is is it Epstein, The 12 Stages of Healing, is a really good book. Yeah, that's what I've just done on the weekend again. It's an incredible process. He researched breath work as well with it. So you do Sumatra respiratory integration, breath work with it, and it just, you have to have a healthy way of stress leaving the body and not holding it. Otherwise, that's where illness comes from. So yeah, Body Keeps the Score is amazing book.
Incredible book.
And All Is Well, Louise Hay, All Is Well. It's amazing when you if you go into something, or if you have a pain or an ailment and you go into her book and you have a look at the area, and it resonates. For example, I was struggling with my weight training recently on bad knees. I was like, what's going on? Why have I, knees are all about inability to move forward. And what was I doing about social media and going out on social media recently? And it was like, oh, right, okay, come on, let's get past this one. But yeah, there's a lot of truth in it, I think. We hold it in different parts of the body. So that's a classic one to go into and look at what areas of the body and what ailments mean and reflect and what might be going on.
I had something, quite a few years ago, maybe about 4 years ago, about holding. What did it mean? Something about the hips was something to do with financial stress. I remember that one. I was reflecting on. I had a hip issue at the time. I think just one thing is to get interested about.
Just get curious.
This conduit, what can we glean from ourselves?
And that's what resonates. We just need to have a curious, playful mind. It's you just have to be open-minded. That's why I do the oracle readings, because it's amazing when you go on a journey like that with the angelic guidance, because you find out, you just unearth center spirit and what you're focusing on, what you need to let go of, and it'll either resonate or not. You just go with it. But it's amazing what just that exercise can provide in conversations when you do an oracle reading, because you just never know what will happen and what comes up. But it's a lovely process. And now I feel really privileged, because I can be in the corporate arena and someone will lean forward after a mentoring session and say, Ange, can I have a reading? And that's when I know that I'm truly blending everything together. And that's my happy place, because it's like, okay, it doesn't matter what I do or what I dip into, whatever's present in the time is okay. Whatever I bring to the table, whatever toolbox is needed. Sometimes I get guidance and go, you're taking your angel cards with you today. And I'm going, really? But I'm going there. And that's okay. I just trust my gut that they're meant to go. And then somebody will go, yeah, have you got them on you by any chance? And I'm like, yeah, okay, that's why I needed to bring them this morning. So all this woo stuff, people call it woo, but it's not. It's just playful stuff, and you just got to trust, if that's what you're meant to do, that's what you're meant to do, and it's all okay.
Based on your work experience, your life experience, all the different kinds of experiences you've had, there's a lot you can bring into any central conversation with the client. I think you can definitely find a language that works for somebody. Yeah. Your impact that you're having, I think, is that you're here to enable light workers. I'm interested in providing a metaphor for who you are when you do that. And I've written down that you come across as a curious, playful nudge.
I like that.
So the curious, playful nudge who's here to enable light workers.
Nice.
So it's just how you turn up when you do that work. Yeah. And to hear we can be playful and it's just a nudge. And I'm just curious. That's so disarming. Yeah.
They're just having fun. Like, work has to be fun. That's a rule. If you're not having fun, you know, mentoring session. It's not work. It's fun. It's fun. Always fun. That's the book. There we go.
There you go.
Nice
And how would somebody get hold of that?
Just connect with me on social, or look on. If you order it, you can order it on Waterstones. It's on Amazon. But message me. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. It's a journey. I love it, and I'm determined to take a group of people in person through my book starting in September. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm going to handhold a group of people chapter by chapter through the book.
So, fantastic. That sounds like a very valuable experience.
It's going to be lovely. It'll be in person. So,
well, I'll make sure your details are in the description below the video. Angela, we could carry on. This has been an hour. It has flown by.
Yes, thank you. It's been a privilege. I, as you know, I love talking to you anyway, so it's great.